sitting here and saying that this is a Draymond problem and Jordan Poole had nothing to do with it, then yes, he is the victim. That is the definition. If you do not call something, but something happens to you, then you are a victim, even if you're not getting victimized highly.
Like, I get where you're coming from.
It's a grown man in a grown man sport, bro.
Yeah, so we just slapping grown men for no reason, though.
I get
or punching them in the jaw with their full weight, and I'm your teammate. Because that's what happens in grown men sports, right? That's what happens in grown men. That's what happens in grown men sports all the time.
That happens to mine.
And it's acceptable.
That happens to mine.
And it's acceptable.
Acceptable doesn't make him not a victim.
What's good, family? Welcome to a Minor Hoops podcast, the show with the freshest opinions and views on the world's most beautiful game. I'm your boy Greg. I'm here with the homies, the squad, Dunkman Keith behind the camera, B to mine. Boys, we're back. We're back. I'm hype. I'm a little hype. What? We know we're starting.
Yeah.
We know we're starting. I'm not even gonna pretend like we don't know. Ain't nobody hitting me like that, dog. Let's just get to it. I ain't letting nobody hit me like that, all right, fam?
I can't guarantee somebody not hitting me like that, bro. But I can guarantee what's going to happen afterwards.
Apparently, Jordan Poole had words, America. Jordan Poole had words. Draymond Green wasn't liking those words, wasn't appreciating those words. And the reports before we saw this video, which dropped like 2 days ago, before we saw this, it was like he struck him.
We didn't know where.
They said he punched him in the face.
We didn't know the force. We didn't know the context. Yeah, no, honestly.
Context in which all of this was going down. So when this dropped, when it's leaked, and I don't want to call it a leak because somebody got paid.
It's a leak. Oh, yeah, for sure. But it's a leak.
It's a leak.
Yeah, people get paid off leaks all the time.
For sure.
And I pray you able to escape the dangers that is Golden State.
You talking about the leak?
Yeah, whoever
leaked it got paid. They definitely weighed the options. They got a big payday, and they're probably
lawsuits
their
are definitely on the way.
Whatever, they ain't gonna get caught. I haven't heard somebody from TMZ getting caught up in I don't know how long.
Amen.
I don't know who leaked it, but I appreciate it.
So apparently, it starts with just a physical altercation. Draymond struck Jordan Poole. They ended practice early, sent Draymond home. Jordan Poole stayed and got shots up. Yeah. Oh, it couldn't have been that bad. It could have been that bad. He got shots up.
Yeah.
Then we see it. And the fact that he still got shots up after that.
I mean, those shots are therapeutic, though. Like, when I had a bad day growing up, like, I went to the court. Like, where else you supposed to go if you're a hooper?
Come on, cuz. Like, you've been there, bro. When we upset and angry,
when you have a bad day.
Where else was he supposed to go?
When you have a bad day,
where else am I supposed to go?
That's a safe place to be. That's a safe place to be when you
hit me like that.
And I know we're making jokes, but that's what makes it so much worse. Is like you didn't just disrupt the peace. Now you're disrupting everything. All my peace when I try to get back to the peace. Like you're disrupting the process to become peaceful again. So even if I'm at the practice facility or any court I may be at, or if I'm outside, this video leak, bro, that kind of destroyed all of the quick patchwork makeup that they were trying to do. Yeah, so
facts.
Like you said, Greg, like ain't nobody, they can't be, you putting your hands on somebody like that, it's not gonna be light. It's not gonna be light.
And the fact that this video dropped, y'all seen the fact that this video dropped, definitely, like you said, added to the lifespan of the healing that needed to take place. Because if it didn't drop,
we'd have moved past
I think we would have been past this already.
The first thing that people talk about is Steve Kerr, Michael Jordan, and granted, Draymond Green are not Michael Jordan, but like people, this has happened. We've talked about Kobe's and Shaq's. We've had, and those are star names, and we've had it happen. Every year there's a fight in locker rooms, multiple.
Yeah. Like this is not new. Fighting is not new in basketball practices, football practices, any
friendships, anything in life.
Friendships
in life.
I squared up with Keith in here. I squared up with Brian in here. I've never squared up with you.
We got to argue in here.
We can fix that if it ever comes to it.
Squabble up.
What? No.
I think we're past that age, aren't we?
No, we family. We got it at some point.
We'll give you like another year for this.
You don't have
I ain't popping it the third time.
You don't have to.
You don't have to?
No.
I feel like that's a requirement.
So what you're trying to tell me right now, Brian, is that sometimes violence isn't the answer.
Absolutely.
Okay, fair. Fair.
Now, sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is.
But sometimes it's not.
So getting back to the point at hand, right?
Exactly.
We got some jokes in. I'm looking at it. We understand Jordan Poole is okay. He got the shots up, so it's not like a health concern.
No health concern.
But right now, we're talking about mending a relationship, a connection, a family, an organization, a budding kind of mentorship because you're supposed to be his vet.
Yeah.
My question is, from the video that we've showed, that we've seen, is there anything that you think could make Jordan Poole be able to allow a consensus ingratiation of Draymond Green back into a less awkward state with the Warriors? Like, can he sit in the film room and can he interact with him as a vet and as a core member of that team? They're going to be able to have that winning connection still to push them forward for hopefully a 5th championship.
Can he work with him? Yes. Will they ever have a relationship again? I don't think so. And to your point earlier of fights happen all the time and like I said, there's always altercations in locker rooms. That is true. There are arguments and fights that happen.
They're private, though.
That's a big part of it, yes.
That's a big part.
But also there's a part of fighting in locker rooms don't happen often between a vet and a young one. That's rare. Like even the Michael Jordan, Steve Kerr thing. They were both vets. They were, even Kobe and Shaq. While Kobe was younger than Shaq, there was that Kobe, one, always carried himself like he was older, and two, Kobe was an established star. The power dynamics were still kind of equal. And also in that, the video makes it worse because, granted, we can sit here and say Poole's not a victim. He isn't. He pushed. He should have had his guard up and everything in between. Fair. All true. It's still the question of Draymond escalated it. Like, he escalated. He walked into Jordan Poole's airspace. He got in Jordan Poole's face. He's the one that kept going back and forth with a dude 10 years his junior. And he's the one that, like I said, we can sit here and say he threw a punch and everything. He went for a haymaker. It wasn't a jab.
And that's my point as to why I'm going to argue that, like, the side and the perception of Jordan Poole isn't a victim. Everything you described would put him as a victim. He walked into my airspace. I attempted to clear it out, and he didn't just jab me like we were boom, boom, boom. He hit me like I'm a random dude on the street.
Like,
hey, if Jordan Poole didn't have his hands up, why didn't he have his hands up? It's Draymond Green walking up to me. He's supposed to be my vet. This is supposed to be basketball. This is supposed to be my workplace. And we're going to sit here and say, oh, no, because you're supposed to have your hands up because, you know, street rules and blah, 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 blah.
Like, we're
at work getting $100 million contracts. I understand that it's sports. But yeah, I'm going to look up there. If he's not a victim, then they should be on equal footing. If they weren't on equal footing in that moment, we're talking about somebody who's 9 years senior, supposed to be his vet, supposed to be actually helping bring him along in X, Y, and Z. If you hit me with a haymaker, I don't understand how that's the point I'm arguing against. I think Jordan Poole is a victim. Do I necessarily feel super sorry and sympathetic? He's okay. This happens at times, but there's definitely somebody who's 100% in the wrong.
Facts.
Okay. And even after that, to clear it up, I know we talked about whether Jordan Poole was annoying everybody, irritating everybody, which to a certain degree he possibly was. When Steph Curry comes out and he has his he answers his questions about the statement earlier, and he says one thing he hated about the entire situation was the outlook that Jordan Poole was getting as if he was annoying everybody all summer. He said that could be,
he was getting a big head.
He said that could have been farther from the truth. He said he was a joy to be around. Everybody loved to be around. And the last thing that I picked up from Steph Curry's statement was he said what Draymond did was completely uncalled for. And that's telling me like it's you can't tell me that the other person's not a victim. If you can't even pull up a reason why somebody would have wanted to escalate it to that degree at any point. And what did he hit him for?
And that's the thing. Like people will, like I said, and once again, I'm not saying Poole wasn't being annoying. Was Poole probably talking trash? Absolutely. He's been talking trash since he got into the league. That's who he is as a person. Yep. Let's keep it
something that Draymond has complimented him on before.
Exactly.
And Draymond Green is a dude who likes to talk trash and get competitive. Seeing that haymaker like that, once again, if it had been just a jab,
a quick one, I would have been like, you're annoyed.
Even like the idea of like Jordan Poole pushed him, and granted, Poole did push him, but like even when you see the push, like you could tell Jordan Poole was really just trying to create space.
Exactly.
And he really did because he got a good arm length and a half away. Draymond lunged like full on. I'm going to take off on you.
You can't tell me any reason why that's okay at.
And that's where it's like it's wrong in every there's no but.
There's no but. There is no but, bro. There's no but.
I'm as big a Draymond supporter as you know.
Do it, man.
This
do it.
was wrong.
For the people that's listening.
If Jordan Poole didn't look Draymond in the face and say F you, your family, and everybody in between.
That's literally what I said. I said there's only like 5 things you could possibly say out your mouth that can actually get that reaction from somebody at work.
And even then, I probably would still look at Draymond like
you still went.
You took a step too far.
All right.
Should you have chin checked him? Maybe. That was a step too far.
You put your whole weight lunged into him and hit him square on his jaw.
All right. I agree that Draymond is 100% to blame for this. I will not call Jordan Poole a victim.
Then what is he? Wait, is he the active participant? Is he the other fighter? What is he?
He's a guy that took an L.
That's whack, bro. No,
he's
that's
a guy
that's
that
wrong.
took an
That's
L,
not even whack.
bro.
That's wrong.
He took
that is
an
wrong.
L,
that is not. That is wrong.
You spoke.
He did not step up there. That was not like a 3, 2, 1, ready, fight. He got snuck with a sucker punch. How is he? How is that not victim?
He tried to create space. Draymond threw his punch. You went to sleep.
So what Draymond did was
in
cool.
his defense, he did not go to sleep.
It's cool.
All right,
he did not go to sleep.
About? It's not an L if somebody cheat you like that.
I'm not calling him a victim either, because here's what we're doing. And I understand. Yes, he is 10 years younger, 9 years younger, whatever. I'm cool with that. I get that. Should Draymond be throwing haymakers at your young boy? No, he shouldn't be throwing haymakers at his young boy. Should Jordan Poole know when to shut up? Yeah, he should know when to shut up. Do they have a relationship of trash talking with each other? I assume so.
I know. We saw them go out there on the bench last year.
I assume so. This is them. So I'm aware of the context. But this is a grown man playing in a grown man's league talking to another grown man. So
my counter would be,
so teammates aside, we're not cut from the same cloth, even if we wearing the same jersey. Like the same trust I would have in Brian to not throw a sleeper, I shouldn't trust Draymond.
That's idiotic then. I can't trust my vet not to hit me in my jaw.
That's a teammate.
I can't trust my vet.
Blood. That's not my blood.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
This is why I'm gonna.
So when I'm having,
if I can't trust him not to hit me in the jaw during practice, how am I supposed to win another championship with this man? We're talking about building trust and camaraderie, but I can't trust you not to put your hands on me.
All right.
Because the article came out like before the video dropped. Especially if you actually watch the video, because people were brought up, well, why didn't nobody do anything? Nobody saw it coming. Like, nobody thought Draymond was going to take it that far. And they've seen Draymond go at it with Kerr. They've seen Draymond go at it in the finals. They've seen him be as heated as they can possibly be. And even when the video came out, there have been reports. Guys like Kuminga and Wiseman and even Iguodala have been like, yo, that's not Draymond. Like, nobody thought he would ever take it that far.
Jalen Rose has spoke on it as well. Like, he said it's sad that his missing guys.
So the idea of like, I shouldn't trust you that much. It's like, nah, bro. Like in this environment, I should at least be able to trust you not to chin.
Bare minimum, I should be able to trust my teammate not to hit me in my jaw.
If I'm in a space, it's getting to a heated space, I can see him closing in on me. And once again, this is not to say that in any way Draymond gets bail, because he doesn't get bail. Like, whatever he did, he needs to understand that there's going to be consequences that come from it. Possibly getting traded. Possibly not being in this franchise anymore. Cool, I'm aware of that. But for us to sit here and pretend like Jordan Poole is somehow, like, a victim, I'm not with it. Because fights happen. We've seen fights happen.
Yeah.
I've seen guys get slumped because they just had their hands down and they did not take the moment seriously. For whatever reason.
But then, that's what I'm saying. Then what's the moment? What the moment we're talking about is everybody there says it's uncalled for. Why would I have my hands up? Why would I expect you of all people? We've gotten into it on the court, Greg. I never had to put my hands up because I didn't think Greg would hit me. That doesn't make sense. If I'm at practice, to have that man come all the way in my face, me get my space, and say, oh, you should have had your hands up because you don't know what Draymond's going to do. What?
We don't know. Like, let's cut the crap. Like, we call Draymond all these things, but we also know we can't understand all the things that Draymond does. And he's done things on the court, live television, that made us scratch our head and be like, that was the stupidest thing I have ever seen. And even if it was to another person in a different jersey, like, it's still stupid. Like, we've all seen this moment where Draymond has a lapse of judgment, and then he has to come back and be like, It's Draymond. And Golden State Warriors fans have to be like, well, that's our guy. That he's our glue. He's the enforcer. Like, he got into a heated moment. Yes, immaturely, he attacked his teammate and went at him in a way he shouldn't have and snuck him. No disregards to that. But if I'm aware of the person that I've seen on the court for the last 9 years, even if I haven't been in this league, and I'm aware of the stupidity that he can fall into lapses with, then guess what? I push and I get back. Because who knows if this man throws me a punch or not? Because
at
I'm
that
sorry.
point, I think the organization should have been got rid of Draymond. If it's to the point where
he cost him a ring, we could have had that conversation years ago.
We could
have.
But that's
we could have had that conversation
point.
years
But
ago.
If we're sitting here and saying that this is a Draymond problem, and Jordan Poole had nothing to do with it, then yes, he is the victim. That is the definition. If you do not call something, but something happens to you, then you are a victim, even if you're not getting victimized highly.
Like, I get where you're coming from.
It's a grown man in a grown man sport, bro.
So we just slapping grown men for no reason now.
I get
or punching them in the jaw with their full weight, and I'm your teammate. Because that's what happens in grown men sports.
Grown man language.
That's what happens in grown men.
Yes.
That's what happens in grown men sports all the time.
That happens to mine.
And it's acceptable.
That happens to mine.
And it's acceptable.
Acceptable doesn't make him not a victim.
Exactly.
Like, it can be wrong, and he cannot be a victim.
Thank you.
I don't know how something happens to you that's completely wrong and you're not a victim.
Like, if I leave my car door open and someone goes into my car, they didn't break the window. Is it wrong what they did? But did I also mess up? Yeah.
Okay, when you call the police, they're still gonna identify you as a victim of somebody breaking into your car. It's more of a semantic
they break
thing,
into my car,
or stealing or robbery or whatever.
I didn't say they took anything. They went into my car.
Oh well, I mean it could be trespassing. If you want to get into the law, that's private property. That's trespassing. We can break it down to the simplest of form, but it depends on whatever you're gonna look at if you got violated or not. It depends on how
Jordan Poole can say he's a victim. He can take that. I wouldn't say he's a victim.
All right, I'll leave that one
alone.
Like I said,
we're debating semantics at this point. And once again, I get where you're coming from saying, like I said, obviously he did engage in the argument. Obviously, he should have had his guard up at a certain point.
No.
If that's how you feel, I mean, I'm just saying, I understand how you feel.
Everybody said, you didn't expect Draymond to hit him. Why would he have his hands up too? Like he's supposed to see something that all his teammates for 9, 10 years.
I'm with you,
bro. If I engage in anything, I have to be aware that their reaction.
Yeah, I can't
dictate that.
say what your reaction to my reaction.
I always say that if you disrespect somebody, you cannot dictate how they disrespect you back.
Right.
But there are levels to a certain amount of things, especially
and that goes against what you just said, though.
Confined spaces.
No,
I can't have a certain level of expectation in my own workspace.
You can, but that doesn't mean that everyone acquiesces to that.
And we don't have to. And since it's not up and it's not being upheld, he got suspended for a few days. He got disciplined, so he was completely in the wrong about it. Nobody said anything to me.
But that doesn't mean you're not wrong.
Because you went to sleep.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He didn't go to sleep, by the way. He was.
Yeah, he was alright, but like, I don't know. The way I see it, if we're gonna say somebody's 100% in the wrong, and
the other person can also be 100% in the wrong.
I don't think Jordan Poole's in the wrong. If you're gonna say you can't argue back with Draymond, like he's not my daddy. No, I'm supposed to sit here and take everything he says to me on the court because that's ridiculous.
Once he put his hands on,
I'm supposed to let him get in my airspace and he can put his face on my face as well.
Yes,
that's bull.
Because that's what you're saying. You're saying if someone pushed me, I can't punch him.
I didn't, but I'm saying from the start of the entire encounter, he came across multiple feet, couple yards to come and put his face directly on my face. From that point on, it's a series of with my teammate. It's supposed to be a certain level of expectations of how something should escalate. And what I'm saying is, Draymond skipped all the steps.
And what I'm saying is,
it's a
series of reactions. A series of reactions. And since I can't control the series of reactions
I need to chill out.
I need to chill out. If I know I'm looking at Draymond Green, I need to chill out.
Yes, I never seen Draymond punch anybody else in the face. Facts. He didn't get into a KD like that. He was kicking people in the nuts all season. I ain't see him put nobody else to sleep or put his hands on nobody else. But it was his 22, 23-year-old star coming up that's about to take the bread that you're so not willing to let down because you so deserve it and everything like that with your play, right? But you can use all those nuances. I can say that.
That's fair.
But he didn't do any of that to anybody else. So why would I expect that he does that to me over this when I'm supposed to be his teammate and held to a certain level of trust and camaraderie over him? You didn't hit nobody else like that on the other teams, right? He was kicking people in the nuts, right? That was all cool and that was all Draymond and big and bad, but you punched me in the face when we supposed to be cool. No, I can't expect that. I cannot account for that. You can say that's Draymond Green and I got to be ready for that. Tell me when he's done that before. And I'll tell you, I should have been ready.
I said there are enough, and we spin in our circles. We need to get to the aftermath of what this looks like. But I said, if we've seen a pattern of stupidity play out in Draymond where he takes lapses, whether he punches someone in the face or not,
you can expect him to do something.
I can expect him to do something stupid regarding me.
I can respect that.
And so if that's the case,
I can respect that.
No matter what court I'm on, I could be in a practice wearing the same jersey as someone, or I could be outside playing in Southside.
That man's that man.
That man is that man, bro. And so if I say something to him, I need to be aware of whatever language.
I don't think he's shown me that he's this man. That's what I'm saying.
He did now.
Now he did.
So he's
now.
I disagree. I disagree.
I think everything in the past even closely add up to this.
I like Draymond, but I disagree. I think there's been enough lapses in judgment that's cost them big things as a team and organization.
All I'm saying is Tristan Thompson slapped Draymond in the face, and Draymond ain't do nothing.
So what are we talking about? All right. So I guess what we're now talking about is transitioning into what will happen in after.
Yeah, what will happen after? Because like you mentioned, Jordan Poole is up for contract. And this gives him a lot of leverage in that regard. Andrew Wiggins is up for a contract.
Clay's going to be becoming an expiring contract around the same time as Draymond as well.
And so the question now becomes, and I think a lot of people are already going to this thought process is the clock now winding down on Draymond's time in Golden State?
I think this firmly solidified that. I know we've had this conversation a couple of times where I've said – basically, how everything was going to play out was going to be determined on this year. If they won the championship, I think Lacob and everybody would have just rolled the dice, paid everybody's money, and brought them back. And
let them retire.
Just let them, like I said, just let everything kind of play out. Like I said, you're winning championships. Like I said, you can't break up a championship team like that. But this,
win-lose,
however it plays out, I'll be quite honest, I won't be shocked if Draymond doesn't finish the season in Golden State.
You say you won't be shocked. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
I won't be shocked if he doesn't finish the season.
If he gets traded before the season ends.
It doesn't shock me. It will not shock me if he gets traded at the deadline.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Greg because I know before the cameras came on, you had said you don't think Draymond should be traded for this, right? Or some around our lines.
Yeah.
Or maybe you didn't say, I don't want to put words in your mouth that you say he shouldn't be traded. That this might not justify trading him or something like that.
I said I can see a space where they tell both of them, hey, suck it up, let's get through this season. And so that's where my head was. Suck it up, get through this season. Go win another ring. I could see a space where they tell them to do that.
That's a tough space, man.
Huh?
That's a tough space.
It is a tough space. No lie, it's a tough space.
It's a real tough space.
But I think this is something that Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, I even think Steph Curry understand to an extent. Like, this roster is built almost flawlessly.
Special.
Top to bottom.
With Draymond, this roster
from the coaches to the janitors.
It's just right. And it fell at a almost divine time for them. And so, you have the Lakers where they're kind of LeBron and the Lakers, they're kind of like.
We don't need to talk about that. Anyway,
no. I mean,
you just using two nice words.
So you have them in flux. You have Brooklyn is trying to get their footing back in terms of their chemistry. If he kept his hands to himself, we're going into the season. We talked about it.
We've all said it.
This is the favorite. No questions asked.
I had them on a tier above everybody
else.
Right. That was the S
until
tier
further
team.
notice.
It's on two teams that would have really. But even then, it's just the Warriors. If they
and
really
everyone
played,
else. Yeah, it's the Warriors and everyone else. That's what it felt like.
Right. And so in that regard, knowing that a repeat is right there. Do I trade one of the glue pieces?
Your best defender.
Probably one of the best
defenders of all time.
One of the best defenders. Probably one of the keys and
a key playmaker on your team.
Right to your offense, from the rotating the ball,
presence.
All of those things he brings to the team. And once again, I never discredit Draymond Green as a basketball player. I do think his offensive productivity is the reason why we've had that conversation.
That can even be brought up.
But y'all, I know this is a nasty situation. Can y'all get through this year, win a ring? Because here and maybe this is my head. If winning can solve all in some worlds,
In most worlds, in this one, I'm not completely sure.
And so I don't know.
This is the problem, and this is why I think it's going to be such a hard thing to overcome. And alluding back to the fight, right? Most fights that break out between a team, between teammates, however you want to phrase it, it normally comes down to some beef, some riff. Sometimes it's just super competitive in practice one day, and things kind of just overheat, whatever you want to call it, right? Like I said, in the case of Shaq and Kobe, they had multiple things going out. That led to Shaq leaving LA.
Yeah.
When fights like this happen, that punch, and this is what made the video so much worse, because you saw the intent. If the video had been Draymond guarding Jordan Poole gets stripped and Draymond claps in his face and Jordan Poole bucks and then they go at it.
Yeah.
This would be a totally different conversation.
Thing.
It'd be totally different. But we watched Draymond walk up. We watched it.
Almost saw it on his mind. The way he crept
this,
across that court.
And this is the point, right? That shows intent. That shows build up. And that shows there's a lot more undercurrent there than we want to understand. And all of that stems from, and I'm saying this once again, I'm the biggest Draymond supporter on this pod. That goes to Draymond knows he's expendable.
Yeah.
This is the first time in the Golden State run he is legitimately expendable. And he knows it.
Yeah.
The contract situation is there. Wiggins and Poole are getting paid. Easy. No ifs and buts about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Draymond was always the one on the fence. He's the oldest. He was injured last year. Like, granted, was he important? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But let's also not forget what we saw in the finals. Mm-hmm. He didn't have a great finals.
And to exactly what you're speaking of, I had mentioned that as well, that actually when he was on the floor in the finals, you can look at both ends of the floor. Like we just praised
you saw his value and you saw how he hurt him.
And it's like at one point I was like, you're not the value that you're taking away from the offensive end, you're no longer making it back on the defensive end during this series, which made them really scary. So when we were talking about the young guys like Poole, Wiggins, we talking about Kuminga's gonna come up, Wiseman is coming back, so you have this loaded.
Can I speak on what sources have told me
about
how
this
started?
We got sources. In the spaces.
About how this whole altercation of beef started in training camp.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. It's because Poole is getting more of the playmaking reps with the second unit.
Than Draymond is?
Than Draymond. The ball is being taken out of Draymond's hands. Once again, you're becoming more and more expendable. We don't need... For so long, the Warriors offense, especially before Kevin Durant, even you could say at points last year, where it was Steph's the number one ball handler and Draymond's number two.
Yep.
Draymond now is probably fourth.
Yeah.
Like, it's pulled two.
Yeah.
You could argue Wiggins is third.
Yeah, I was about to say Wiggs.
Draymond's just becoming less and less important. And I think that is messing with Draymond's head. That's why that punch and the whole walk up and everything leading up to it makes it so much worse, because there's a real conflict there. Yeah, if this had been just a scrum at practice, cool. It ain't that, bruh. This is the pecking order is being identified. It's shifted. And I brought up a point last year where I thought Clay and Poole was going to be kind of the problem in some instances.
Yeah, we were wondering about that because of play styles, too.
Because of play styles, and Poole, like I said, he needs the ball in his hands a little bit more and all that. And granted, I think it's going to sort itself out in time, but like I think that's natural, and Clay is just, he doesn't have that type of personality where he's going to go off about it. But Draymond...
No, this is
he
actually
can't handle
shows too. We always said the Warriors, one of the greatest things about them were their unselfish superstars. And generally we were talking about Steph and even Clay to a certain degree, and Draymond at certain points. But this does show that there's a limit to certain levels of willing to share or willing to give up your kind of role and ability on the court. Because what you have mentioned is his ball handling ability is getting taken out. But what I saw in the finals last year with what Wiggins was doing, a lot of the time I was like, they don't need Draymond as much if Wiggins is playing like this. He's playing bigger than what I've ever saw him play, with grabbing all of those boards as well. Yep. Being away to,
he was the one guarding Tatum.
I'm like, he was switching on all their best defenders, as I said, that he should be always the primary point of attack. So when you have stuff like that and a lob threat coming back like James Wiseman when he gets into the rotation, you're completely right. He's expendable.
And this goes to my point of why I could see him being traded. Is Draymond... I still think Draymond, and we saw it in the finals, he is still one of the top 5 defenders
He's
in the
valuable in this
world
league right now, yeah.
by far. But with that being said, and this is the point I've argued with a lot of people about the Warriors on recently, is people still say, well, they can't win without Draymond. And I understand that sentiment because we've never really seen it done.
Okay, I'll let you finish. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, we've never really seen it done. But, and you've heard me say before, I think Draymond has become one of the most unique defenders we've ever seen in NBA history. Yeah. I don't think you can replace him at all. It's like trying to replace Steph in the offense. Mm-hmm. You simply can't because there's no one else like him. Yep. But that doesn't mean you can't change.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
And that's where I think you're going to see Steve Kerr experiment a lot in the first half of the season. You're going to see lineups that don't make any sense. You're going to see Wiggins at the 4. I think you're going to see Wiseman at the 5 and Looney at the 4. You're going to see so many crazy lineups that don't make sense because they just want to see, could we do something different without Draymond? And if they figure it out and Kerr believes it's possible and Steph signs off on it, Draymond's gone.
But that's the thing. The probability of them figuring out and having people sign off on it, I think is high now. I think
that's what I'm saying.
Think they're going to be able to figure out.
I don't think they would have been searching before this. Like I think they would have just let everything rock.
Yeah,
but now
it's like, what could I?
Don't get me wrong. They would have been looking. They would not have been like.
I think they would have been fielding, like listening, but they wouldn't have been. Yeah.
Okay, so
there's no pressure.
So here's where I was going with it in terms of they've already been searching. Like, yeah, I think they've already seen what that is. In the short stint that Wiseman played before he was done April 2021.
Yeah, when he just came back,
and then when he just came back during the preseason.
Yeah,
you said it once before, and I've heard a lot of people say this about Steph Curry, that it's just blatantly false. He can't run a high pick and roll consistently.
It's a lie. He's one of the best pick and roll players in the league, easily, of all time.
But people put on them that they have this crutch in terms of Draymond has to be on the floor. They have to run this, heavy screen.
Because that's what they've seen.
That's what they've seen. Yeah. That's what's been successful. When, let's be honest, no one thought that would even be successful. But
fair point.
Let's move on from that. Pass is a pass. We know he can be a high pick and roll guy.
Absolutely.
We've watched him do it in the finals, and God forbid if for whatever reason they step up, maybe things change a little bit. They refuse to.
I would say, yeah, let's step be a high pick and roll.
Let's be honest about why they didn't. It's to take away the idea of I don't know if Ime really believed that Draymond was more important in the offense and stuff, but that's how he played it. Because that's the whole reason you don't stop it, is to make sure Draymond doesn't get the ball on the short roll.
Exactly. But let's replace that with the automatic 2 points with a lob.
I was just about to say, put a real lob threat in that high pick and roll.
Anybody that can shoot or score in a pick and roll, Steph averages 10 assists. Like, can we stop the
anybody but Draymond?
Seriously.
So I think they've already know, if we really wanted to,
yeah, facts,
we could go to a heavy high pick and roll situation.
Steph could average 30 and 10 off of that. I'm not even exaggerating. He would literally average 30 and 10 in a high pick and roll situation.
Let's be honest, and I know, and we could talk about you guys' victim. Jordan Poole
is going to go ham.
He's going to go ham in a high pick and roll system.
With Clay and Wiggins on wings.
He's going to make that system look like a victim. I'm telling you.
So that, and now you take the roster that they have, you take who we got? Wiggins, you take
Kuminga,
Clay,
Moody.
Dante
Moody. I love Dante DiVincenzo for them. That's a great pickup.
You take JaMychal Green. These are guys just hanging around on this roster that can't stretch the floor. Patrick Baldwin may not play that much,
but he's tough.
But that's a lotto pick. That I don't know how. Yeah. That was a lotto.
That was one of the best pickups.
That was tough.
So you take all these guys and put them in catch and shoot situations. You can still have a little off-screen action.
You're still gonna have
you can still have
those actions.
This ain't rocket science. This ain't rocket science. The Warriors can get this to work in a million ways.
The only thing that's gonna struggle is the defense.
That's it.
You just have to figure out the defense
of this generation, and
arguably ever.
And arguably ever. And in terms of the defense, I've said this before. We've mentioned how natural defense comes to Draymond Green, how he's able to call things out and be vocal. We've seen now, you got young guys behind them, Kuminga, Wiggins, all that. They understand the rotations to some extent. They've been through a playoff situation where they had to see those rotations play out. So it isn't like they have going in blind.
I mean, it's almost
cut the film on and say, all right, this is what it is. This is what you need to do. Now, of course, Draymond has some nuances to his style doing it.
I think the defensive scheme would have to change to some extent because, especially if you're talking about playing Wiseman, like Wiseman isn't switching. Like now you're becoming more of a drop-heavy team. Guys got to fight over top of screens a lot more. Like those are the little things that's like, can you tweak the defense enough
when you tweak
and be good enough?
I was about to say, you're getting something else back, though.
And
like, that's always it. It's not like, oh, we're taking Draymond off the floor and our defense is going to crumble. You're going to get more minutes to some guys who are going to know the rotations, how Greg said, who are going to get the minutes now to fill that out. But B, you're going to run not maybe a completely different scheme, but you're not going to run it the exact same way. So
the example I keep using is, and y'all have heard me say this before, I think Draymond Green is the Dennis Rodman of this generation. That's how I view him.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times.
So with that being said, and people always, I always thought Dennis Rodman was slightly overrated, just like a lot of people think Draymond Green is slightly overrated. With that being said, people always talk about, well, the Bulls wouldn't have won without Dennis Rodman. And I've always sat back in that and laughed because I watched them three-peat with Horace Grant. You don't need, granted, was Dennis Rodman overkill? Yeah. Like, you got the greatest rebounder and the greatest defender in the league to be with Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. But I saw them win with Horace Grant.
Yeah.
They didn't need Dennis Rodman. They just needed a big who could play. Didn't even need an all-star. You just needed somebody that could get 10 boards, guard his man.
When the team's put together extremely well like that, it's like...
Same concept.
When Jordan had retired. Yep. And they were getting right back to winning. I mean, they didn't win the chip, of course, but you could still see like, oh, okay, this is a comparable team without this piece. And mind you, that was the piece. So
like, and I think that's going to be the key with the Draymond thing. I think, like I said, it's going to be a kind of a replacement by committee, depending on what you can get of value for him. Like, that's going to be a big question. I don't know how much you can get for him.
26.8 on that player option. You know he's picking up I mean, he's pretty much all but
I don't think he's picking up the player option.
And that's what I was going to ask. If he's not picking it up, that means he's going to leave and probably is going to end up like LA or something like that.
And I think that's going to be horrific. But anyway, that's a whole different discussion. But yeah, no, like, this idea of, like, replacing Draymond, I think, is going to be something that's going to be done by committee. It's going to be Wiseman, Kuminga. Wiggins is going to have to play a lot more for. Like, there are just small things and small changes on the roster that, honestly, we're going to have to see Steve Kerr adapt to for the first time in a really long time. Is it possible? Absolutely. Now, will they be as good as they could have been this year? I don't think so. That's the key. Right. Like, I think with Draymond this year, I think there was a real certainty they could have rolled to a championship.
S tier.
Without Draymond, it's like, no, y'all, this is a battle now. Like, y'all gonna have to really work for this.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with it.
And so I guess time will tell. Everyone has spoken on the situation. Steph has spoken on it. Bob Myers has spoken. Only person that really hadn't said anything yet is Draymond.
He was at the Mary J. Blige concert last night.
So
just hilarious. fine. That's wild.
Woo! Oh yeah, that's crazy.
No, that's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous.
So we'll wait to hear his response. Everybody has had something to say. John Morant.
For life.
Lamar Jackson.
The song for sight for life.
So, prayers to everyone involved. honestly, this is wow.
Is unnecessary headache. Wow. It's such an unnecessary.
Thank you.
Headache.
It was so unnecessary.
Thank you.
Like, that's the biggest issue. It's so unnecessary. I
appreciate it.
I mean, of course we do. We got something to talk about. But
jeez.
Oh man, let's move on, man. We talked a little bit about the landscape through the Warriors lens, but we are here with our Western Conference preview. So that means we're giving y'all our top 8 to 10 best teams for the conference and see how that shakes out. As always, we kind of run through and we kind of pick out each other's lists. And we normally hold to this list pretty well. Only time we make any true adjustments is if there's a massive injury. So, but that's it. I normally keep mine.
Yeah, I ain't never have to change mine. I've been with it. You know,
you the one that said something about it earlier. Don't look at me like that. You said it. You was like,
you said no. You gotta live with the pick.
You do.
I calculate injuries into my picks.
You gotta live with the pick, bro.
Yeah, we all definitely expected Dame not to play last year.
You gotta live with the pick. You said what you said, bro.
Oh, please.
You said what you said.
I don't know where I had Dame at though, so I'm not gonna comment. But if I had him where he ended up being, yeah, I expected him not to play.
All right, so I guess I'll start. I'll start with mine.
Let's get it.
All right, Western Conference. At the end of the season, I believe the Clippers will be 1, Warriors will be 2, Memphis will be 3, Denver will be 4, Phoenix will be 5, Dallas will be 6, Minnesota will be 7, the Lakers will be 8, New Orleans will be 9, Sacramento will be 10.
So let me make sure I got it. Clippers, Warriors, Memphis, Denver, Phoenix, Dallas, Minnesota.
Yes, Lakers at 8, New Orleans at 9, Sacramento coming in at 10.
Gotcha.
That is mine.
I'm out here wilding.
All right, let's hear it.
Hey yo. All right. So the West was kind of difficult, extremely difficult.
Hey, I don't want to hear your prefaces. Let's go.
Lying.
And this is why I came up with the right list. It took me a while.
The right list.
All right. So at number 1, I think leading the Western Conference would be the Mavericks.
Whoa.
Number 2, I got the Clippers.
Whoa.
3, I got the Warriors.
Out the gate.
4, I got the T-Wolves.
I can't wait to talk about you.
5, I got the Pelicans.
Holy.
6, I got the Nuggets. 7, I got the Suns. 8, I got the Lakers.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean they would be playoffs. That's still a playing spot. Let's get
playing
that.
spot.
Let's
It's
get that.
playing.
Yeah.
It's playing.
That's
They
fair.
not
That's
mean
They
fair.
try.
That's
They
fair.
try extremely hard to make the playoffs at the end of the year. That doesn't mean you're not gonna lose to. I don't know. Portland's at the 9th. And that's how I knew I had one off. When you had said Portland's my 8th, I was like, what? I had forgot to put the Nuggets in. And then I got the Kings at 10, which they could be 9th, but I'll put Portland at 9th. I think Dame is going to try to have a bounce back here. But yeah, Mavs, my number 1 seed. I'm calling it early. Luka going to have an MVP year, and it's just going to be set up. After I saw the Grizzlies have that year they had last year, I started thinking about things differently.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Interesting,
So that's
B.
the right list.
That's the right list. All right. Let's go, B.
All right. I just made this up. I got Golden State at 1, Clippers at 2, Denver at 3. I got Phoenix at 4, Memphis at 5, Dallas at 6, Minnesota at 7, New Orleans at 8, Lakers at 9, Portland at 10.
Portland at 10.
Yeah. Mavericks at 1. Why?
No,
Yeah, let's get to it.
Hey, I did mess up my list 1. I did leave. I think I put them on the wrong list. Excuse me. But at the 5th seed. Excuse me. It's supposed to push everything back. It's supposed to be the Grizzlies. I don't think I said their name. I think I skipped over them when I was reading them.
Yeah, you don't have the Grizzlies. Wow.
Yeah, I was about to say
So
something.
Grizzlies is supposed to be at 5?
Yeah, 5, and that pushes everything else down. So Lakers are gonna be in the 9th at the play-in, but
Okay.
it's whatever.
And the Kings just aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody got a problem with that? Any Kings fan out there that got something to say? All right, that's what I thought.
All right, back to Mavericks at 1.
Yeah,
It's
Mavs
quiet
at
because there are no Kings fans.
exactly. It's always gonna be quiet. I don't know. Like after I saw the Grizzlies go on that run that they did with their camaraderie, and mind you, that's a different team, but it had kind of opened up and a little exposed the regular season and how to win within the regular season really well. I think the Mavericks ended the season on a really high note last year. They only got better in the offseason, if you ask me. I think Luka takes another jump, and that's why I have him as my MVP. And to be honest, I think the other teams that are going to be capable of winning as much, I like Clippers, Warriors, we saw that they're going to have internal turmoil. We don't know really what's happening with it. So I'm like top 3, but I ain't going to pick you as my number 1. Clippers, I just understand your stars aren't going to play enough regular season games. Like, hopefully Kawhi plays around 60, but I can't guarantee that. So I just had to hedge my bet. So, yeah, Mavs, I'm cool with that. I'm real cool with that.
So you think the addition of Christian Wood and the subtraction of Jalen Brunson is that big of an improvement? Because I don't. I
think they're gonna be able to make it work. Like I don't think Cedar necessarily is is me sitting here telling you championship strength. And I think the Mavs are gonna could flirt with a Western Conference Finals as they did last year. And I understand the positions that have changed, but I do like Christian Wood as a great pickup and option for them. I think, like I said, I think what I'm really putting my stock in is the other step that Luka is gonna take as well.
So Luka's winning MVP this season.
Yeah, like if I had to put money on an MVP bet right now, I'm picking Luka.
Okay. Regardless
of the amount that I had to bet, is just not gonna change my answer. It'll be Luka this year.
Okay.
Recent trend of international players dominating the awards. It's just a comfortable pick for me.
Okay. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's the wild one.
That is wild.
I like it.
Luka can have an MVP season,
Mavs,
but them being one in the West is wild.
Mavs at one.
Like,
I mean, they definitely have a formula for winning games in the regular season. So I mean, I can't really knock that, but it's just like to think they're really gonna play consistently enough to be the 1 seed is.
That's why
this
I
roster
prefaced it with, I don't think the Clippers are gonna
that
have the consistency enough, and they have the depth. Don't get me wrong. The Clippers are a team that we can have an entire podcast about before the season starts.
Right.
But like I said, it was just the little niches and the other things. Like I think I probably would have had the Warriors at one if it wasn't before this incident. I'm not sure if they're gonna trade or experiment or they're a team that can blow regular season games and not care.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why I didn't really want to have them at one, because they have the luxury of trying to figure things out. I think the Mavs are going to try to get out to a hot start, and keep it going and flowing. So a couple early wins, maybe jump out one, maybe hang around in the top 3 later in the year. People might be resting some stars while getting ready for the playoffs or something like that. I think there's a chance that they can be number 1. I don't think it's that crazy of a pick.
No, that's crazy.
No, that's wild, bro.
So who are the acceptable number 1 seeds in the West?
Denver, Golden State, Clippers. I even would have took like
Jamal ain't playing how long? Are we still gonna take Denver?
You said who ain't playing?
Jamal Murray.
Played the
And
PJ
PJ ain't healthy all the way back yet.
Yeah, he is. He had 22 last night.
Just because you got 22 don't mean I'm
He
sitting here
fine.
after somebody who has
fine.
had back-to-back like multiple injuries over the course of his career since we've known him. I'm not just gonna say you're healthy because I saw you one game.
I mean, I feel
That's
you.
fair.
Like it's been 3,
That's fair.
but
Yeah,
I feel
like-
you.
So that's why I didn't have the Nuggets having. They're gonna make the playoffs. They're not gonna be in the play-in, but that's why I didn't have them up for a number 1 seed spot. I thought they were gonna have a tough time.
I watched them win 48 games with no Jamal Murray and no MPJ. Like adding both of those guys and the other roster moves they made, getting KCP, getting Bruce Brown.
No, they're a good team.
Like I think actually
That's
I just
automatic.
switched my list.
That's almost like. Go ahead.
I just switched my list. I put Denver at 1, Golden State at 3. I switched it.
Just
But
making audibles. I feel it.
The more I thought about it in my head, I'm like, Golden State doesn't care enough to be the 1 seed.
But that's you see why I didn't have them as 1.
But
No,
when you
fair.
say who's an acceptable answer for a 1 seed,
So you said Nuggets.
Clippers, Golden State. I even would say maybe Memphis, like because they've proven that they'll go hard for it. Like
My biggest thing is like, and I'll say this, and how I looked at it, even with the loss of Jalen Brunson, I don't think Memphis is anywhere like in terms of being that much better, or I think they're on the same tier, I should say, as the Mavs. And I think Memphis is some team that can
in a playoff series, yes.
in a regular season.
In
You
the
think
regular
the Grizzlies
season,
do well?
I think
better. Excuse me.
I think playoffs and regular season they're the same.
I
And
think
that's how I looked at it, as if the Grizzlies can have this great regular season run last year, and I knew they were capable of it, and especially with Ja Morant missing 25 to 30 games last year. Why can't the Mavs settle in, focus,
Because
and
if
fight
Luka
for a
misses
1-seed?
any time, the Dallas ain't.
Oh
winning
yeah,
the
for sure.
games.
This all goes out the window. This is the Luka.
And Luka
card.
gets hurt every year. Let's
Yeah.
keep that in front.
To a degree, yeah.
He misses at least 10 to 12
he misses
games
some
every
games,
year.
yeah, but that's not crazy to me.
But he's calling.
Like,
He's calling for
65 to 70 games in a season get you to number 1 seed if you're the best player on the court every time you step out, generally. And I think he's going to have one of those type of seasons this year. I'm not saying he's the best player in the league. I'm saying he's going to have one of those seasons where, remember, and I'm not saying he's going to do this, but Kawhi with the Raptors in 2019, where he only played like 60 games. And Leak and I talked about this the other day. But every game that man played in, he was going crazy. It was like Kawhi's controlling.
They also won a ton of games without him.
For sure. They had a great team, but that's my whole point with Luka is the Mavs look like an amazing team when he's out there on the floor. So if he's able to get up 70 games, if he's able to get up 70 games, I'm going to stand by that.
Okay. Yeah. On this one, I got to go with B in terms of this Dallas roster without Luka is not whole. Like, it's not. Like, he makes them so much better.
Yeah, as he should.
And so, like, and also, wow, I think Christian Wood will play a very pivotal role for the team. The absence of Jalen Brunson as a playmaker, which they didn't replace.
They didn't.
I mean, I think they're just assuming Spencer Dinwiddie will come
back. Yeah,
right.
And I don't know if he has enough
juice left in him.
I hope he does. I actually really like Spencer. He's one of my favorite players to watch in the league, but I don't know if he has that much juice left to completely be a second ball handler.
Exactly. And so
we gonna see.
With that, it's like
getting Tim Hardaway Jr. back is a big pickup for
them.
He's coming back from injury, so that's another big.
But that's also another guy who also tends to be in and out.
Yeah, very inconsistent
because of his injuries. So like this roster just. I don't know, like it does not scream one.
But last year the Grizzlies ain't screamed two. What they ended up the 2 seed, right? Yeah, something like that. They didn't scream top 3 seed to me, and that's what I'm saying. Like when I took this listen to account, I was trying to take in everything that could happen over the course of the year, and I'm like, without a Luka injury, I think the Mavs could flirt with a number 1 seed, so I put them up there.
I think you're overestimating. Like as great as Memphis was last year. Like, I'm very interested to see what they look like this year with a lot more teams healthy, the West being a lot more competitive.
I don't think they look as good as last year and winning as many games.
That's what I'm saying.
I personally don't think
so that means you're thinking Dallas is going to elevate.
I think that they can because I think they have the better player. I think they have the better player, and I think I would take them in a series, and I would take them over, and I'll take them as the number 1. I mean, I explained enough. I can only explain but so much, but those are my thoughts.
That's fair. All right, so one of the key trends I see is New Orleans kind of floating in that.
They're making the playoffs. They don't have to be in the play-in. That's how I figured.
8. I got them at 8. You got them at 9. Tamar has them at, I think, 6.
6.
So we all have them in, but like we have them on the bubble. You have them securely in.
I feel like they're not going to have to do a play-in. That's why I put them at 6. I don't think they're going to sit here and dominate and be flirting with like a top like 4 seed or nothing like that, but I think they should be good enough not to play in the play-in.
I think that's fair.
Now, for a dude who just said you can't trust MPJ, you trust Zion.
I think the difference is too with the taking care of Zion. I think I can trust it a little bit more. It's not a back. He's been able to take all the time possible needed. I know they're gonna take care of Zion in a certain kind of light, and not make sure that this is the season that goes extremely well for him health wise at least. So I have more stock in the team, the organization, the NBA trying to take care of Zion, like getting in on that as well. So yeah, I think Zion can be straight with injuries this year, which is not something I would say in prior years, but I think this is the year that he'll be straight with injuries. This is the year where I think a lot of things that we've seen previously in years past aren't necessarily going to be as prevalent. So a guy's injury history might go out the way or something like that. But that, again, I was thinking this before Draymond punched Jordan Poole in the jaw. So
fair.
Yeah. Maybe some people are just stuck in their ways. So
Zion, I mean, this is the thing with him that has him like has the Pelicans fringe, but also like them being at 6 makes sense to me too. Like I can understand why you would put them at 6 because if for some reason this guy is healthy,
they could sneak to 5-4.
Fam, I mean, I know it's preseason. But he is in shape. He looks ready.
No, he looks good.
He looks ready this year to play basketball. And
Pelicans have a really good roster. CJ,
Willie Green at the coach. Like
they got
this team can be one of those like annoying first round. Even
they could upset somebody.
Yeah,
they can upset somebody. Let's be real.
Like, they match up with Phoenix. Hey, all bets are off.
Yeah,
well, I mean, Phoenix. I wouldn't even necessarily 100% consider that an upset at this moment right now with how much stuff that's going on over there.
Exactly, and so like Zion being at his best, in shape, like. I think this could be something like really, really special to see. And almost akin to how we saw all those injuries and question marks we had about Embiid, and then he come back and be like, oh no, he's
good.
This dude's good. And so I understand that side for sure. What else? What else do we miss?
I want to talk about the Wolves. Because mind you, that's one of the teams that had the biggest transformation over the offseason with they acquired Rudy Gobert, major blockbuster deal. We talking about that team. We know the stars in terms of Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert's on there, D'Angelo Russell. They got a lot of great guys there too. Young guys. They got to keep Jaden McDaniels. The way I love the fact they kept him out of that deal. I had them. What did I have them as?
Yeah, 4, I think.
You
5.
had them at 4.
4. Grizzlies at 5.
Me and Greg both had them at 7.
7. So even with that requirement, y'all think?
I think the West is just tough.
West is just gonna be a handful.
Like I think
who's at 6 for y'all?
I got Dallas. We both have Dallas at 6.
5.
Phoenix.
Memphis.
Phoenix still gonna be
Phoenix
5?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're still like, unless they just completely implode,
Fall off the map.
Like you're still walking on the court with Chris Paul.
I just don't believe in him anymore, especially after that last playoffs.
I don't believe in him either. I just think
Not to win anything.
Yeah, but to win regular season
regular
games. That's fair.
To win 45 to 50 games.
I got them in the playoffs, but I thought they would drop back a little
Like, when
bit
the
more
last
to
time
7.
Chris Paul didn't win 45 to 50 games?
And he has, and like I said, Devin
That's
Booker,
fair.
DeAndre Ayton should be better theoretically.
Yeah.
Cam Jones, Mikal Bridges should be like everybody on the team should be getting better.
Crowder,
Except for Chris
DeAndre
Paul.
Ayton's not in a happy space with his head coach. I was just thinking of how the dynamics in Phoenix.
That's why I dropped them. They went from 1st to 5th.
Yeah.
Like they were first
Sheesh.
last year. They won 65 games last year.
Yeah, I do understand that. I had them as my 3rd, and then I dropped them to 7th.
So it's like they went from first. Like I said,
Or
the fact
8th,
that they're
I think.
dropping this far shows like that turmoil that we all
Yeah,
have. Like,
I put them at 8th, so I dropped them back a few spots from where I initially had them
my
as well.
question. My questions for Minnesota hasn't changed when the trade happened. Like, as much as I like the acquisition of Rudy Gobert because it goes against the grain of what the rest of the league has been doing for the last couple of years. So now you got these 2 bigs, these 2 footers that's going to take up all this space, and you can still space out because a cat can shoot so well. The question still remains: who's running the show?
I was about to say, what's the
D'Lo.
culture there?
Like, who is running the show?
From top to bottom. Like, how does it go?
Where's the pecking order? Where's the leadership? How can I trust that they're going to consistently want to play good basketball day in, day out?
and this is why
I can't make that.
I want to be higher on them because I actually
I
really
would
do
want to, but I don't believe that.
But I actually
Like-
do believe. I think the team's actually going to be fine. I
Y'all
just think the
flipped it
Western,
for me because I was the non-believer
Yeah.
in terms, and that's why I thought about it earlier, and I was like, they
Like-
got a point. Maybe the Wolves can sneak to a 4 seed. Now you're telling me you don't believe in them, Greg?
Like I actually
Out here, give me the
like
false
their
narrative.
roster. I think they're going to be really good. I just think the West is that good where
It's just
it
murky.
it's just that like I think everything between like 2 and like
Gonna be
7
separated
is
by,
going
like,
to be
4 or
like
5
a game
games.
and a half. Like
Sheesh.
it's going to be
2
crazy.
to 7 is a game and a half.
It wouldn't shock me, low key. Like seriously, every team on this list: Denver, Clippers, Golden State, Phoenix, Memphis, Dallas, Minnesota. Would it shock you if any of those teams won 50 games?
Oh. Yeah, you got a point.
Like every one of those teams is capable of winning 50
We
games.
all said before we even read our names that this is going to be a hard one in the West. Like the West was the hard conference to do this year.
And so because it will be nip and tuck. Now I have to go off. Okay, what are the team's patterns that I've seen in the past?
But this is why
and
I
so
like
Minnesota, whether Rudy there or not, have these super highs where we're like, oh snap, like that is a super talented team. But then you see like these super inconsistencies where they're so undisciplined, and it's like.
But I think you're arguably bringing in one of the most disciplined players on the defensive end that take care of it.
Added the veterans
Yeah.
to fix it. Rudy, Kyle Anderson's a dude they
Kyle
took
Anderson,
from
I like,
Memphis.
yeah.
Brent Forbes is another dude from the Spurs in Milwaukee who kind of is a vet.
Yeah, I like
Austin
Brent
Rivers
Forbes.
is another vet. Like they have guys in that locker room now who kind of get it. Like they've
can
been
settle it
around
down a little bit more.
They vets. They've been on the block. They know how this works, and they still have good talent. Like these are guys who are going to contribute. So now, even if Anthony Edwards and I don't know Jaden McDaniels, who are like the 2 young guys, now,
yeah.
like even if they like go ham and are inconsistent, it's like, all right, guys, we like let Kyle Anderson bring the ball up one time and he'll set us up and run something.
We'll get it settled down.
They have enough pieces now where it's like things can be calmed down if need be.
That's the interesting thing to me. Like how the Bulls were last year, that's how the Wolves are this year for me. Where, okay, I got to keep an eye on that. Close.
So, but I just think the West is that tough.
That loaded.
Just, like,
that's
I
fair.
think if Minnesota makes the playoffs, they're going to be the biggest first round headache for whoever they
plays
play.
them.
Oh yeah,
Like easily. I don't care who matches up with them. If Cat plays like he should, which it's a big if. But I actually think he's going to be better at the four.
That's my point.
Very supportive of Cat this offseason. You have been.
You did it. You proved my point.
No.
That's
how I've been feeling. I've been feeling like Greg, where like I've seen this man go like soft tissue before. So
I think he's going to be better at the 4 than he would be at the 5.
5?
That's how I feel about
That's
it.
fair.
I think his skill set is better for the 4. His temperament's better for the 4 now. I think
you also
he'll
do
be
keep in
better
mind
there.
his health. He is coming off that,
and that's another thing,
illness.
like,
that illness.
I
Yeah,
don't know
well, he lost like what, 19 pounds or something?
Yeah, they said he's down to like 230 now.
Yeah.
Which might serve him in the long run. Anyway,
Just go 7-foot wing straight.
he has the skill set. Like,
Yeah, he's talented.
Like it might work for his benefit if he actually stays in shape. But prayers to him. Like I said, I hope he's feeling much better.
Yeah. Illness aside, I think he's gonna be. He's geared. Y'all have convinced me. I ain't even gonna front that. I think I'm more gonna bet that he's gonna have a big year.
And man, am I the
solid
only
year.
one that's really like high on D'Lo still?
Oh no, D'Lo's my man. But what you got to describe high on D'Lo?
Explain D'Lo.
I think D'Lo is the perfect point guard for this group.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I did. I'm high on D'Lo. Yeah,
If
I'm
that's what
high
you
on
call it
D'Lo.
high, I mean, cool.
Yeah,
Like whatever.
that's I'm about to say that's not scathing.
Yeah, you didn't say nothing.
I'm just like, I feel like we've forgotten a little bit about it. He had a tough year last year, battling injuries, things of that nature. But like, I think D'Lo is like the perfect guard for this group. Like even Rudy Gobert's already talked about in training camp how like having, and maybe this was a shot to Donovan Mitchell as well, but like just having a guard who can find him at the rim and find him
that is a shot to
at the
Donovan
alley-oop.
Mitchell.
Like D'Lo is still a very prolific passer, still a very cerebral guard, still can create shots when he needs to.
Say spreads the floor.
And last year we saw him take a big step forward on the defensive end as well. So just like those little small changes, once again, and now the fact that he doesn't have to be a primary scorer, if he embraces that, I think he's the perfect point guard for this group.
Yeah, if he just goes out there and gets you around like 16 or 9.
Like I said, 69. Like if he plays like almost like a pseudo Mike Conley, but just a little bit more.
I mean, he's bigger though.
Exactly.
Like, cause man, people gotta realize D'Lo's 6'5", 6'6". Like he's
Like-
he's a big guard. Like he doesn't play above the rim how most big guards
Facts.
do when you're 6'6" and you're flying around.
But
But
he's super skilled. Like if he just plays like a very more explosive Mike Conley, which is what I always felt like Memphis was missing during those prime years. They just need another explosive outside scorer.
Yeah.
Which we've seen D'Lo go off for 50 and seen him go off for 35.
he can put the ball in the cup when he needs to.
Like when he gets hot,
We saw him be. Well, I think he was the leading scorer of that next team when they went to the playoffs. Yeah.
Like we know D'Lo is capable of that. So if he can come in and be like, yeah, I only have to do that once a month because I have Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns and all these other dudes, I think that would serve him tremendously.
I agree with that.
So,
But I wouldn't say that's high on D'Lo. I think
think
if
it's
you
high.
don't think that, you should reevaluate who
I feel like a lot of
D'Angelo
people
Russell
have
is.
like started to downplay D'Lo.
Yeah, I'm about to say you're
you
downplaying him
don't
because
hear-
that's
people don't
D'Angelo
talk about
Russell.
him as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of not talking about him, I think, or just him flying under the radar because he's in Minnesota and you're around Karl Anthony Towns and
Ant now,
Edwards.
yeah.
It's like, okay, we get it. There's other brighter lights, around. So yours can kind of dim a bit or get lost. But no, I don't think that's a hot take or high take rather. Like,
So
cool.
I guess my last question for predictions or for rankings. Why are we all so down on Portland? I mean, I know I am, but you don't have them at all. Again, you have them at 10.
No, I
along
don't.
with
I
me.
got him. Oh yeah, I do got him at 10.
Yeah, 10 with me. I don't even want to talk about the Lakers.
Yeah. Whatever. If the Lakers make the playoffs, it's a plan. So that's all we had to say about them.
But like, why are we all
am I
so
down on Portland?
Because in theory, the moves they made should make them better.
No, I don't think so. I think Portland has had 1 foot in and rebuilding completely and 1 foot in and trying to be competitive. When you have guards like Shaden Sharp, when you have guys like Anthony Simons, and I grind you. I
Anthony
understand.
Simons is a bucket.
He's a bucket. 4 years, $100 million. Give him his money. I don't think he's ready to really be a main contributor in like a playoff push in the Western Conference in that backcourt. I don't think Dame and Anthony are they're not scaring me.
They can't
in
be
terms
Dame and
of-
CJ?
You said no. Anthony's not as good as CJ yet. He's not. He's not. He's
as good as CJ was when he first started.
And what does that mean? That means that should be
They
higher
were a
up.
playoff team.
Okay, they're not my play-in, I guess, barely. But, yeah, that doesn't mean that much to me in the West right now. So, I don't think they really have a team that can actively compete. And I think they have players who would like to compete. So, I think there's going to be a lot of close games. I think they're going to be one team that looks average. So, since they're not tanking, they're just going to be at the bottom. Like, they're going to be at the bottom of whatever the playoff mix is.
I get that.
Like, Dame is a star. We get it. He's a superstar. I don't care what Taylor Ricks has said. But, and that's why, and he's coming off the year where he didn't get to play. So now you're going to have all of this time that you want to make back, show the people who you are. And mind you, you're just in love with the game. So you're an extreme competitor. We understand this about Dame. We don't have to keep talking about it at all. So I think it's more respect that I have them on this list, like, period.
At all.
Yeah. Like you're above the Kings. That's some respect. No, real love. You're above the Kings. That's some respect for me on this list right now.
I heard someone else
flirted.
say it, and I couldn't agree more. The Trailblazers missed out on a great opportunity to tank.
They should trade Dame right now if they can.
No, if Dame goes down with any injury whatsoever,
yeah,
it's a wrap. Like
If they do what I think they're
going
going to try to do, and that's try to allow Dame to go out guns blazing and
just shoot whatever, but we don't care.
One last time.
and try and fight his way into an 8th seed.
Yeah.
Like, and I said it because when you first made your list, I couldn't. I saw it and I was like looking at. I think you had him at like 7 or 8.
I had him at 8 because I forgot to put the Grizzlies on.
And I was like, if that happens, then Dame is being considered as an MVP. Like, he's at least coming in second in voting.
He'll be top 3 if that happens. Yeah.
Like, he has to, because this roster does not give me any impression that they belong in the playoffs.
But my question is, do you think they're gonna tank as hard as the Spurs, the Jazz, you know what I mean? Like, even though they're not as good as a lot of the other teams, are they gonna tank as hard as the people who are gonna tank everything?
That's true. I'm cool with that. I understand that. But, like, if we looking at, and it's not that I'm low on Simons, I'm not even low on Shaden. Like, Shaden Sharp plays.
Shaden Sharp's not playing. He's hurt.
No, he played.
He played the other night.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's back. I thought he was out for a month.
He went crazy, dog.
My bad. I ain't watch. As you can tell, I'm not watching Portland games. But okay, fair.
Like,
my apologies.
Like, they look good. Like, they look like, wow. Like, all right, we got something to work with in terms of our backcourt for the future.
Yeah.
Fair.
So cool. But in terms of timeline, and I mentioned this about other situations, it does not match.
So Jeremy Grant doesn't do
Nope.
anything for them?
Nope.
Gary Payton Jr.?
Nope.
Josh Hart?
Nope.
It gets them the 9th seed that I
Nope.
told them they're gonna get.
So this is
11th seed.
Yeah.
Maybe
11th
seed.
So
Like,
maybe this is where I'm just like, I'm not trying to derail the conversation at all, but it's just funny to me because for years we've always had these Steph, Dame, Steph, Harden, all these debates, and this is like, and for years all we heard with Dame was if you give him length, if you give him the defenders that Golden State has, and blah 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 blah, Portland would be great. And like he's kind of gotten that now.
I mean, that's a few years and like 2 injuries too late. Like, you don't have CJ no more. You don't have your running mate in your backcourt.
But like Simons is,
he's not CJ.
Are you sure? I just watched Simon average 18 last year, shooting 40%
I just saw
from
CJ
3.
revitalize that Pelicans
That's
without
great.
design.
CJ is a certified vet now. Simons is going to be 23
and
entering
Simons
his
is
prime.
not CJ. I don't care about the age. I'm saying right now in this moment,
I think Simons 23-year-old
Simon, he might end up better.
I think Simons is better. I think 23-year-old Simons is going to be better than 23-year-old CJ.
And I can agree with that. It's
23-year-old
Simons
CJ
better
and Dame
than
were a playoff
CJ today.
team.
Is he better than CJ today?
But my point is 23-year-old CJ and Dame were a solid playoff team.
In a different league.
It was the West was still super competitive back then.
This, bro. It wasn't not like
it's not
this.
this, dog. It's not this.
You talking about when the Lakers were really boo-boo?
Let's talk. No,
like you talking about those
Let's
years?
go back to that year.
Like, I mean, Brian, you can check all the stats you want. Like, this is cut and dry, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and once again, like, when you look at
23-year-old CJ wasn't even a starter.
When you look at the names you said, Jeremy Grant, Yusuf Nurkic, Gary Payton, Justice Winslow, Josh Hart. When you look at those names, yes, those are all veteran players who have an identity and a role. And they can come in and play that role. The question is, can they play that role and also need to elevate in a certain way around them to be competitive in this West that we've agreed is...
You said 2 to 7 was a game and a half.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, you said that.
It's crazy.
So...
But Portland gonna jump higher than that somehow?
I mean,
This team is not.
All right.
So they're bare minimum 7.
Stop coming at my neck because I have them at 10.
Because I'm over.
Stop coming at my neck. I have them at 10.
We're moving. We're moving it on.
talking about?
We're moving on.
I'm in the same
Hey,
spot.
he likes to be an antagonist. I can be an antagonist too.
I have him at the same spot as you.
You're not doing a good job, B. This team is not that good. Let's just get to it. This team is
All
not
I'm saying,
that good.
if Dame is that dude,
Dame
he
is
should
good.
get more
We
faith.
love Dame.
He should get
I will
more faith.
always
This is a lot,
respect
and
Dame.
I'm telling you, this
But
is a lot of
this-
faith saying they're making a plan. Because what they should do what they should be doing, right now is tanking everything.
This team is not that
Everything.
good.
World War II tanking.
If you want to hear anything I said about
Portland,
Portland, this team is not that good.
it's not.
All right?
It's not. Shout out Dame,
I'm
though.
just
That's my
saying,
guy.
if
Take
Dame
that-
is that dude, he should get a little bit more respect than that. But clearly, I don't because I have met
LeBron is that dude, and he's number 9 on this
LeBron
list.
past his prime.
LeBron's still that dude.
He's better than Dame right now.
He's still that dude.
We'll find
He
out
is
this
still
year.
that dude. And we have
Oh,
LeBron.
no. We're not going to skip past that. We'll find out this year
We'll find out
if
this year.
LeBron is better than Damian Lillard.
We'll find out this year.
Brian, that might see you. We just talked about the Kwame tape.
We'll find out. I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure.
Your hate is getting out of control.
I said hate.
Your hate is getting
Because
out
I
of
don't
control.
think because I think a 32-year-old Dame might be better than a 38-year-old LeBron.
What did LeBron do last
Might.
year? Like as an individual.
What did LeBron
As
do
an
last year?
individual, As an
He scored
individual.
30, didn't play defense, didn't play making, didn't do anything else of note. Yay, he cherry-picked 30 points. Congratulations.
We can hate on Bron without dismissing the fact that as a 37, 38-year-old hooper last year, he was still better than Damian
You're
Lillard.
acting like I'm saying LeBron's going to be trash. All I'm saying is there is a possibility Dame might be the 10th best player
Okay.
and LeBron might be 11.
Okay, you know what I'm going to
Shocking.
ask? You know what? That's fair. That is fair. What is the percentage of that happening? I'm getting tired of you throwing out
30,
like 8,
25?
25 to 30%
30,
chance that
25%.
Damian
No,
Lillard is.
no,
You know it's not.
25%.
You know it's like 5, and you're just
Cut it
saying
out.
stuff.
30, 25%.
It's 5%. You decided to say it to be spicy.
Dame-
That's all it was.
So if
That's
Dame,
all that
So
was.
if Dame comes out and leads the league in scoring this year, LeBron does what he does, and the Lakers are still a 9 seed and Portland's an 8 seed. Who's the better player?
Honestly, I would take Bron. If you look me in my face and tell me like he had 2 more points
So
in the game,
LeBron
more in the
has
game, that's it.
LeBron has AD and gets a 9 seed. Dame leads this roster. Y'all say sucks
I've seen-
to an
I've
8.
seen that
but
happen a
somehow
lot of times.
LeBron's the better player.
I've seen it happen with individuals getting better records, and we always talk about the situational. I'm not going to sit here and say any situational thing that could happen this year will lead to Damian Lillard being better than LeBron James in the next year. That's ridiculous, especially
Talking
coming
about
off
thi-
injuries.
we're talking
That
about
is the
this
biggest
year.
hating
That's
statement you've ever made on this pod. That's
crazy.
wild. That is
that's
a big
crazy.
gap between. We're not talking about any of these young guys. We're not talking about like I think Luka and some of the other guys are already
That's
better. Giannis is already better, but we talking about Dame.
Like, we're not going to sit here and talk about, like, not literally in the bubble 3 years ago, we were not talking about Dame being a top 5 player in the league.
Who won that bubble chip?
Hey, congrats.
And finals
We're
MVP.
3 years removed. So, excuse me, but
And
I
we're
don't think a
3 years
38.
removed. I understand,
Like,
but where was
he's
the drastic
38.
where's the drastic decline from LeBron? And mind you, we haven't seen Dame hoop in almost a year.
You're right. That's why I gave it a 25% chance.
That's a high percent chance.
That's fair. You can say it's high. What? I'm not saying it's a big chance. 25%.
No, that's
1 out of 4.
that's
come on.
multiple choice.
no, that's a big. That's
That's
Wow.
when I don't know the
That's
answer. I'm a
a
pick
lot.
seed.
25% is a lot.
That's
B.
a lot.
Like,
man.
last time I saw Dame healthy, he was averaging 30 points. Like,
Like if somebody
I
said
appreciate
your
the
laptop
fact-
has a chance, a 25% chance to fall off the table right now and break, you're gonna put it on your lap. Like that's a high percent.
I don't have a lot of faith in LeBron and the Lakers this year. I'm sorry.
That's-
Excuse me.
I don't even think it's
That's
the
cool.
faith that you have in them. It's the fact that you're willing to put more faith in that amount of faith in Dame. 30% amount of faith in Dame.
I'm going to say 25. That's where it's at.
That's
I'm
still
sitting at 25%.
Still,
I was
B.
cool with 2 to 5%. I thought it was that drastic.
Oh man, let's move on. Yeah, that was our Western Conference predictions, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all let us know in the comments where y'all guys have 1 through 10. Where do we get it wrong? If y'all think we got it wrong, who should move where? Who's gonna have a big season in y'all?
Dallas paid me for my picks.
So
Had to.
let us know, man. Let us know. We're moving on to the future.
Ooh.
Moving on to the
Future
future,
is
man. We talked about this a little bit. We alluded to this a little bit. Talk about there's a lot of teams that's going to be tanking, and we got to see why last week in 2 games. Victor Wembanyama is that guy.
He's that dude.
Is that guy?
He's the truth.
And before we cut the cameras on, we were sitting here trying to wonder how many elite drafts that we've seen in the past, 03, 1983, 96.
How many 96, 03, yeah, all of
How
those.
many elite drafts would this kid go one in?
Yep.
And the answer was
All of them.
pretty much.
Pretty much all of
And
them.
it's no disrespect to anybody who's went number one before, your favorites and all of that, but realistically, and I'm not sitting here saying he's gonna have a better career or projected to have a better career than them.
But
But
as a prospect,
as a 7'4" dude with a ratchet that can shoot from anywhere on the floor and get 4 or 5 blocks a game, I don't know who doesn't take this.
yo,
Like I can't think of any franchise just And the draft that we thought about was 03 with LeBron.
03 with
But that
LeBron.
has narratives
And maybe
in it as
Kareem.
well. And
maybe
possibly
Kareem.
Kareem,
Maybe
just
Kareem.
because of the size and things like that. But realistically, bro, it's this guy every draft, every year. This is the best prospect that we've ever seen for the NBA.
this is wild.
Yeah.
If for like, and the reason why this isn't making as much noise as it should is because the guy plays in Paris. Because if he played in America,
This be a whole different vibe.
Y'all thought there was hype over Zion.
you thought they were hype over Melo. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't no.
If
This
he was
would
American,
be ridiculous.
and
Like,
I think
it's getting so underplayed.
it's getting very underplayed because most people haven't had eyes on him or haven't
Yeah.
seen him
Until that game on
until these
Tuesday.
2 games,
Yeah.
essentially. Like I said, we have known of him. We've seen him a little.
We've
bit.
alluded to him a lot.
So we've alluded
in the
to
last
him.
couple pods.
So we kind of already knew. Like I said, anybody that's in the know kind of already knew what was going on. But this first glimpse of him really had people just going, "What in the world are we watching?"
Yo,
And that's kind of where it is. Now, on the other side, you have the skeptics who, especially before the 2 games, was like, "Oh, this dude, he's overhyped. He's another Chet.
Yeah.
He's Bobo. He's whoever you was, Chris Stapps, whoever."
Yeah, who was ever skinny and was gonna get highly
And-
touted.
To that point, that's fair until you watch him
play.
move.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Fluid.
He is one of the most fluid. Like, he is such a fluid athlete.
to be that tall
He
and to
does-
be that,
I understand the
comfortable.
KD comparisons completely.
It's ridiculous.
And I'm not saying he's as fluid like with the handle as KD is,
but-
but when you watch it, you're like,
He looks like.
He belongs out there.
Yeah.
He belongs 30 feet away from the
Here's
basket.
a throwback. Here's a throwback man
Go
for
ahead,
you.
I'm
He
here.
moves like Ralph Sampson.
okay.
If you ever
Yeah,
get a chance,
Ralph
go back
Sampson.
and look at Ralph Sampson.
Yeah, he could bring the ball up the court. He could do all before
Ridiculous.
that. Mind you, this is like late
1980s,
70s, early 80s. So
1980s.
yeah,
Like, Ralph Sampson's bringing the ball up the court. He moves like Ralph Sampson. Shoots, I'm not going to say like KD, but I'll say like Chris Stapps.
I say somewhere between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, somewhere
shoots
between
like
the two.
them. And he can handle.
Yeah, he has a decent handle.
He has a decent handle. What else is
Mind
there to
you,
talk about?
wait, he's 18?
Oh, my fault. And he can protect the rim. I'm not going to say like Gobert, but let's say like, I don't know.
Gobert Jr. I think that's realistically, that's the only
Maybe.
comparison
Like-
in that lane.
I was going to say there was somebody I had on tip of my tongue. Yeah,
Ain't nobody gonna flirt with getting 3.5 blocks but Gobert in the league right now.
I mean, I wasn't just using today.
Oh,
I was going
okay,
back. There's
all
somebody
right.
I had on somebody I had on tip of my tongue, but I just can't remember now.
Okay.
But it'll come back to me later. But like all of those things combined makes Megatron. You can't like
Bro, no, there's nothing you can really do with him.
it's ridiculous. I've watched them. I've watched both of those games so many times now, and I'm at a loss for words.
It's yeah. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I and we walked in, we talked about it, and I said, Vic was impressive. No, and this isn't just no downplay to him. He was impressive, but the hype that everyone's seeing is like, you know, when you got a rapper artist like you
Yeah.
heard,
Facts.
you know they fire,
Facts.
Yeah.
and you ready to put everybody on,
Yeah, I got a couple songs down.
but it take rest of mainstream about a year and a half to be like
They late.
that
They don't
song
got
was
ear.
hot.
Yeah, they don't got
Catch
the ear.
It's like I've been on this, dog. I've been on this. I've seen what y'all seeing now. So my level of hype isn't there because I've been playing that song when it was on SoundCloud.
I know the lyrics by heart now.
Exactly. You're
I
just
skip
like
it when it come on shuffle.
He got new stuff.
Yeah, no, for real.
so. This was just that kind of like stamp moment of like, hey man,
Yeah, it's here. It's here.
Yeah,
It's real.
Like he had one play. I don't know if it was the first or the second game. He catches it at the hash.
That was
And
the second game, I believe.
Second
yeah.
game, I couldn't.
On the
He,
left
no,
side?
he didn't
Left
catch it at the
side.
hash.
He's talking about-
He
yeah.
dribbled back to the hash.
Oh yeah. Dribble back to the hat, launched that junk.
I was wondering if he was gonna pull it. Yeah.
I was like this kid better be like for anyone who is in like those conversations at the war table, and if they ever say like, "Oh well, should we consider Scoot?" No. Go ahead and give them their pink slip now.
No, fire them on the spot.
Like, go ahead and give them their pink slip now.
Like, because I can say an hour worth long of raise of how he could have potentially won number one in a lot of different other drafts.
Nah,
but
yeah,
this
like,
ain't
this one.
Yeah, yes.
This is, and he looked great too.
He looked
I don't want that to lose.
Scoot looked great. The problem is, and this is no shade to Scoot, I see a 6'2" point guard like that every other year. Sorry, I think Scoot's gonna have a very good NBA career.
Yeah, for sure.
But I've seen Scoot before.
I haven't seen him.
I've never seen Wemby before.
And from a space of, and just giving him his flowers since we're in this moment.
Yeah.
I told you before we cut the cameras on, I was like, Scoot impressed me more. I felt I enjoyed watching Scoot more because I already knew what I was going to expect from Wemby.
Yeah.
But watching Scoot elevate when the lights came on,
Yeah,
and show himself, I was like,
that was big.
Oh yeah, like this.
Play basketball in a great way. Improve upon everything somebody said negative about him.
Right,
They said
like
his jump shooting, but he shot like 75% from the three in that first game. They said his playmaking and passing ability, he had 9 assists and would have had more if people just knocked down a little bit more open shots. He competed, he took smart shots. He wasn't like inefficient. Like he played amazing for an 18-year-old.
He attacked the rim, and when he did, he attacked it wisely. Like one of the plays, he came down the lane, splits through the defense, cuts through the D, gets at the rim, sees Wemby
On his back.
Bop,
the reverse.
bop. I'm like, yo, like this is what we're talking about. Like you don't have to be afraid of this guy. Attack him.
Working in the mid-range,
Like,
floaters. Yeah. Now, Scoot definitely.
He adjusted well to.
He's not going to lose his number 2 spot.
Nah.
To anybody. I don't care
think
what happens
so.
in college.
I don't
Scoot is the number 2 pick in the draft.
I don't think so.
As confident about Wemby going number 1, I'm almost as confident about Scoot going number 2. But that might just be a little bit more situational who gets that pick too.
Exactly.
But whoever gets the number 1 pick, I don't care who you are, I don't care who you have on your team. You might as well not even say, like, there shouldn't be a countdown. You know when there's like a 3-minute waiting period.
Walk that kid
It's
up
like,
to the podium.
let's just start the draft with the
Silver should
Victor
already be at the
Wembanyama
podium. He should already be at the podium. Victor
and the
Wembanyama.
number 1 pick in the draft, 2 XYZ Victor Wembanyama. So we can start the real draft.
Here's the real question.
Yeah, honestly.
All right.
Here's the real question, because the consensus is all automatically Victor, 1 pick.
Yep.
What is the trade offer for the number 1 pick?
And it depends on who you are. If I'm OKC, it's everything. It's everything.
already have everything.
It's everything. Except maybe Shea. I try to keep Shea. I try to keep him as hard as I can. But the amount of picks you want Chet, you can have him. Like, and there's no disrespect to these people. Like, if you want Josh, you can have him. Like, I will be willing to give
might as well get rid of Shea
everything
then.
away except. I mean, I want to keep Shea. I would love to keep Shea. Shout out Shea.
Just wasting that man's career.
I'm not if I give him Wemby this early. Am I really?
Wemby still.
If I have Shea and Wemby in 5 years, I'm gonna play. I better be. So yeah, I can fill it around. Nope. Yep. I give everything.
What about if you're Detroit?
If I'm Detroit, ooh, that's tough. That's
Because they kind of already have the pieces.
They have pieces, like sir, and I like Jaden Ivey. Like I'm
Jaden,
really big on Jaden Ivey.
Sadiq.
All right, so here's the thing.
Ooh, that's tough.
Because this is a good question. Because honestly, as valuable as he is as a prospect, is it worth flushing your entire roster, especially if you're like one of these low teams, Detroit, Houston, all over there?
Absolutely.
Is it worth just?
Yes.
Well, what you do is you try.
You
to
know what?
take the
New York
best.
fans, they should be pissed. They're not tanking this year. They should be. They should literally be mad at the front office for the fact that they are stuck with Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, and they had to watch this guy on TV.
Yep.
That's what they should be mad about right now.
I think the basketball should be happy that Knicks aren't tanking, because if the Knicks did somehow end up with the number 1 seed this year, I would just slam my head against the wall.
I mean, that's fair.
But yeah,
Like
so,
Charlotte should tank. Soon as LaMelo turns an ankle, that's the season. We're done.
And when I was making my list, that's hilarious. I'm not going to tell you about my East yet, but when I was making my list, that thought did pop up with Charlotte specifically and Wemby. So I was like, but that's neither here nor there. You give everything for Wemby. Everything you possibly and feasibly can do. Detroit's an interesting prospect because, to be completely honest, I wouldn't want to give up more than Cade and another thing for Wemby because I believe in Cade that much. I think Detroit is building something very special there. And it seemed like Cade is actively, as a young person, of course, but still wants to be a part of it. It's not like when Zion didn't want to go to New Orleans. So
Cade, he seems like he's embraced Detroit. He's trying to be a leader.
So it's tough if I'm Detroit. I'm not going to say give everything for him, but depending on the right call, yeah, Cade, you can get moved too. But let's be real. Like, this is the most, we just said he would go number 1 in any draft.
Almost.
Is Dame worth Victor?
Yes, easy. What are you talking about? I trade Dame for Cade right now.
I just said.
Not even Victor Wembanyama. Like,
said that if there's.
If I can get Scoot, I might give up Dame. And that's simply because Dame, you're 32, 33. It's only been so many years and you have injuries.
I just said Portland should be a main team looking to tank.
No, for sure.
A main team looking to tank. When I've seen what Shaedon Sharpe looks like.
Yeah.
And I've seen what Anthony Simons look like. Man, let Dame go into the sunset with a championship hopeful somewhere else, and let's go ahead and start over with Wemby, Shaedon,
Anthony. Yeah, I love that score. I would love that.
Let's
score.
start over.
Yeah, I'll trade Dame.
That's a beautiful start.
It would be Dame and whatever else you want.
It would
like what else do you want?
Because it happens to Portland all the time. Like they did it with Brandon Roy.
Yep.
Then Brandon Roy
That
went
wasn't
down.
by choice.
That wasn't by choice, but
they get very unlucky.
They get very unlucky, but at the same time, it just time's up right where they can start over.
I don't want Victor in Portland. That's a bad history of big men and injuries.
That is
that's fair
true.
on Victor, but on Portland, I want Victor in Portland. This ain't about what Victor want.
There's a curse there.
Like
anybody over 7 foot.
Like they went from Brandon Roy to LaMarcus Aldridge, then Dame popped up. Like,
yeah, now Portland's been very unfortunate.
Been very unfortunate, but been fortunate to be able to turn
bounce
the
back
clock. Like,
right immediately.
Really,
no Greg Oden, but we can
So-
bounce back and like so.
But
yeah, man. I mean, he shot 7-11 from 3 in the first game. I mean, he's an efficient scorer from even the perimeter. He's going to defend. I was worrying about his transition into more NBA style rules.
It's gonna be easier.
It's gonna be easier, of course, to play. I was just thinking about getting adjusted, but it's always easier to score in the NBA with the spacing and everything that's provided. Yeah, I mean, the real question is like, what else is there with Victor? We know he's gonna be. We said what teams what the offer is going to be. It's just who's going to get him.
right.
And I think I'll put my hat in for San Antonio.
And it's always hard to say this, and we'll probably have this conversation so many more times. But what is the legitimate ceiling for a dude like this?
And I think
taking health risks outside.
Yeah, taking health risks out of the equation. If he were to reach, if he were to have a healthy 15-year career, what is the ceiling?
you would hope to say. You would hope to say that's the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. But you would hope to say.
I don't know if he'll ever even be that type of a scorer, to be truthfully honest.
Yeah, I was about to say, depends on play style and what's best for winning. It could, like, some accolades can come up short, but I say 15 years, you can give me 5 chips. I can comfortably say that. From right now seeing him,
No, I'm with you.
you can give me 5 chips, 15 years of that career, from what I expect it to be.
I think it's all about the direction he wants to take his game as a player. And I think this is one thing that no one really thinks about when you get these unicorns or these aliens of a player.
It's how they want to play.
It's how they want to play the game.
Yeah,
like
you can't force like
AD didn't want to play the 5.
Or Phil Jackson tried to force Kristaps to be a post up guy.
Yeah, like
certain things.
So how does he want to shape out his career and what he want to look like?
However he wants to.
And he has that luxury.
Yeah,
but also it's the dynamic of having too many choices. Like we all been in the car with our girl and we driving past every restaurant. What you want to eat? I don't know. You name something. It's like, I don't want to do that. Well, this is kind of Wemby. Like we can look at a guy who can honestly pick and choose how he wants to play the game. However he wants to, he can pick and choose.
That's not a negative, though.
It's not a negative.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
It's not a negative, but it's also like
I think that's the beauty.
at some point you have to find someone who can hone in a certain way and be like, all right, this is how I'm gonna play what is my game?
Yeah, but
I can do all of these things.
I think his offensive game is going to be the fact that he literally is just a Swiss Army knife.
When I shoot my jumpers, your face is at my stomach. Like that's ridiculous. I don't see I don't even see your hand when it's up. Like
in all honesty, I don't think he's ever going to be like a premier scorer in the NBA. I don't think that'll ever be his role. I do think he'll be somebody that's always a mismatch. He's going to be an elite lob threat because why wouldn't he be?
Right.
He's a guy who still is going to be able to bring bigs away from the basket because he can shoot it out to the 3-point line. And like I said, whenever he gets a mismatch, he can exploit it. But I don't think we'll ever look at Wemby like, oh, he's the best scorer in the NBA.
Yeah.
No. I don't think that's that.
He could be that. But I don't think he's gonna choose that route.
But
though.
Okay.
I don't think that would be the best route for him. I think the offense would still have to run through somebody else. But defensively,
he could still be the leading scorer in that team.
Fair. Defensively, I think is where it's going to be the most impact made. Simply due to he's 7'5" with an 8-foot wingspan. Yeah. He's going to literally just erase things. We talk about Rudy Gobert single-handedly being a top 5 defense every year, simply due to the fact that he's big, tall, and he knows how to protect the rim. Wemby can do that without trying almost. And
he's a threat on the other end.
He's a threat on the other end. And he can also kind of guard on the perimeter. Is he going to be an elite stopper on the perimeter? No. But is he going to be able to just kind of switch out, hold his ground every couple of possessions? Looks like
he's
it.
He's going to get better as well. It's not like
exactly
he has to stay at this level. You're going to meet NBA guards who are going to fry you, but
that
you're going to get better. And he has he has the structure already to go out there and feel comfortable guarding guards for switches.
That elite defensive presence combined with the fact that he literally is probably going to be able to walk into 20 points a game.
Yeah.
It's just unheard of. And now, to your point of, if he chooses to really maximize a skill set, whether it's his shooting, post up, playmaking, whatever it is, if he really masters a skill set offensively with his defensive potential, I don't know what the ceiling is.
That's fair.
Because we've never seen it before.
Nah.
We talk about LeBron James, and LeBron James transcended everything we thought he could accomplish.
Yeah.
Arguably the greatest player of all time. Arguably. Michael Jordan became the greatest player of all time. Anybody you want to name that's come in with these massive expectations, there was still always somewhat of a blueprint.
Yeah.
There's no blueprint for this. This is...
The last time we saw a player this tall have such a shift on the league was Yao Ming.
Yeah.
And when Yao showed up, we were like, yo.
Different.
This is people got to answer for this. And it still isn't this.
No,
it's not even Yao's skill level couldn't match up with Wemby's going into the league. Exactly. And that's not a disrespect on Yao. He's an all-star and all that, but let's be real.
But that's money. He was slow. He had slow feet. I mean,
his toughness got questioned. It was a whole lot of things on the defensive end. Can he really start banging with bigs consistently or American bigs? Yeah.
I mean, so all of that played out for Yao, and we were like, and we thought he was special, and he was.
He was.
Yeah. Shout out Yao Ming.
I mean, injuries kind of had
a
super effect on him, but it isn't this. It's not this, dog. And I think that's the intriguing thing about it. But I also think where he chooses to plant his flag. Yes, defensively he's going to be that guy.
Yeah.
But on the offensive end, where he chooses to plant that flag, my ceiling is if after 15 years, maybe 18, we could sit here and say this is a top 5 scorer in the NBA, especially with how the league has transitioned to the small ball, and he would be that. He would just be that guy.
He's a cheat code.
He's a cheat code.
We talking about
literally
small. We could go small with this 7'4".
It's so timely how he's entering the league.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, but the way the league shifted created a player like this. I mean, that's just the way it happens.
So, yeah, man. Yeah, this is something we're gonna have to keep our eye on, man. For those who did not see these 2 games, definitely go see these 2 games. Definitely go watch the first one.
Yeah,
the first one was way more entertaining.
Yeah, Scoot got hurt. They bumped knees in the first 5 minutes of the game, so he didn't play the second. the rest of the game, I
Yeah,
guess.
I think that was the first quarter.
Yeah, it happened like the first 5 minutes of the game.
So I definitely say go watch these two games. Go see Wemby and go watch Scoot in the first game as well. I think he dropped 20.
Oh,
29.
Draymond just had a press conference.
Ooh.
He apologized,
Oh yeah, I knew he apologized.
He said he's gonna take time away from the team.
See, I got a $5 bet going on that he pods before Tuesday. So I need the pod to drop at least by Monday. So
He's podding about this, right?
Yeah, no, it's very specific.
I think they told him not to.
Jeez.
I think the organization told him not to.
That was my Sour Patch money.
Send it. That bet was with me, guys.
Nah, we just said how uncontrollable he is. I want to see it. I'm going to wait. Tuesday morning, Draymond, I believe in you. Or by Tuesday morning.
But yeah, man, like that story is still developing. So now we know Draymond is being asked to not pod, and he's gonna take time away from the team. And yeah, what a time, because the season starts legit 2 weeks.
Yeah,
week and a half.
Yeah.
Week and a half. So, hopefully he's back by the ring ceremony. Hopefully. Hopefully.
Oh my God, you gotta trade this man.
Hey y'all, we love y'all, man. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. For all the new people listening, watching, subscribe, comment, share the pod, man. Like it on Apple, Spotify. We, man, everywhere, anywhere. Share, show us love, man. Comment below. Let us know what y'all think about the show, how we can improve, where y'all think we're wrong or right. We love to hear y'all thoughts. We'll definitely reply. We appreciate y'all as always. Easily Brief the Game. We love you. Be safe, and we are out.
Yeah, buddy.
I can't believe this man is Draymond. Really?